Ladies and gentlemen, I am Scott Barrett, part owner of fantasypoints.com, and we are broadcasting live an NFFC Cutline Championship draft. And I'm joined by Greg. What's your title, Greg?
I'm the founder of the NFFC and the NFBC, so I created this damn thing.
Title that is, yeah. So clearly the top guy over at NFFC, and you want to explain to the folks at home, but myself as well, what exactly is a Cutline draft? How should I be drafting? This is a best ball hybrid, right? Which is sort of unconventional.
Correct. We call this hybrid best ball. $100,000 grand prize on the line. We're going to get about 2,700 teams, so about 270 different leagues. These are 10-team leagues, 26 rounds. The first 10 weeks of the competition is all best ball scoring. Now, we do have FAB here before weeks 2, week 6, and week 10. So we have 3 FAB periods, which is different from best ball. Best ball, you just draft and you're done, right? So this is a hybrid where we got 3 FAB periods. The top 5 teams in each 10-team league advance to the playoffs, which is a cut line. Every week, week 11, 12, 13, 14, we cut about 25% of the remaining field. We keep doing that until we get 12 teams left at the final table, like the World Series of Poker. Those 12 teams in week 17 will battle for the $100,000 grand prize. Basically, the most points in week 17 out of those 12 teams wins the $100,000. Now, in these playoff rounds, if you make it top 5 out of 10, you do set your starting lineup each week, okay? Money's on the line, no more best ball. You decide out of your 26-man roster who you want to be your 10 starters, okay? So that's the hybrid part. 3 FAB periods, and you set starting lineups when you get to the playoffs.
So what week do you start setting lineups?
Week 11.
Week 11, okay.
Yep. First 10 weeks, again, just best ball. Draft like you're drafting a best ball league. When you see some injuries during the season, you'll have 3 FABs you'll be able to pick up. Again, in a regular best ball, you can't do that. So,
but weeks 1 through 10,
yep.
You only need to finish in the top half of your league.
Correct. Yep. Sounds easy, right?
It sounds easy.
And we pay $350 to the first place team in the league, $150 to second. Well, you can finish in the top 2 of a 10-team league, right? So you should cash.
Yeah.
This is easy, Scott. You got this.
I'm just trying to figure out how much I want to draft for best ball versus start sit, because to me, they're basically 2 different games. And we talked about that on the last live stream. Yep. So this one's tricky. This definitely throws a wrench and kind of puts me off my game.
I think that you draft as a best ball. I really do. Again, you can make tweaks for the playoff rounds if you get there with the 3 FAB periods. So I would draft right now as a best ball team.
See, I disagree. I just think, finishing in the top half isn't too difficult in best ball, but we'll see. I mean, I'll definitely, prioritize a backup quarterback where I wouldn't in a typical league.
Right. All right. So here we got 6 running backs right off the board coming right to you. Not uncommon. McCaffrey's always number 1. Cook is almost always number 2. Alvin Kamara now at 3. Derrick Henry 4. Draft guy starts at 5. Team 5. He's won 2 national championships in the industry in the last couple of years. He took Austin Eckler at 5, and then Zeke goes at 6. So now you're on the board, Scott.
Yeah, I took Saquon. I think if this was a best ball draft, a strict best ball draft, I would have been overjoyed to take Travis Kelce there. But I am going to prioritize the bell cow, given it is start sit through the final 6 or so weeks of the season.
Yep. And Kelce, ADP in this format is 6. So he has been going in the top 6 in this format.
Yeah, I mean, that was a tricky pick between Zeke and Saquon there. That's one I'm struggling with in my own internal rankings. I really love Zeke and expect a bounce back year with Saquon. Obviously, the concern is he's probably going to sit out week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, scaled back workload. But in the grand scheme of things, that really doesn't matter too much. Those final 3 weeks of the season are what matters exponentially more.
Yep. There goes Kelce, the guy you were thinking about right behind you.
There's Kelce.
So you're not moving Barkley down because of that. I mean, he has been going. Last night he went 16th in one of our online championships, so he has been starting to slide to the second round in our NFFC drafts.
Yeah, so I think no, I'll take him in round one. But I think I would have preferred Zeke there. The extra concern is I remember talking to Dr. David Chow a full year after Dalvin Cook's ACL surgery. So the first year back, he was riddled with injuries, compensatory injuries, a decline in efficiency. And Dr. Chow told me, yeah, that's to be expected. Your first year back from an ACL. Adrian Peterson is an all-time outlier, but typically a decline in efficiency and an increase in compensatory injuries. And the year after that, he's basically 100%. So that's another added concern with Saquon. But at the same time, I mean, who has Saquon Barkley upside? It's just about Christian McCaffrey and no one else. When we're talking about, the potential to average 21 carries and 7 targets per game. And yeah, I don't see that manifesting in the first month of the season or so, but then hopefully he's back to the Barkley of old. Hopefully.
Right. Yeah. No, some concerns coming back from ACLs. You'll have hamstring injuries. You'll have quad injuries. Obviously that leg is weaker. That dude doesn't seem like he's got any quad issues. All right. You are up. We had Kelsey, Jonathan Taylor, nice pick at 9, Tyreek Hill and Stephon Diggs to team 10, Devontae Adams going 11th overall, and Nick Chubb 12th.
Yeah. So I'll just defer to ADP here and take Aaron Jones. Truthfully, I don't know which running back I would take between him, Najee Harris, Antonio Gibson, Joe Mixon. I really like all those guys, but I'm writing the bell cow report now, and in an effort not to reveal anything, I'll just go with the cop out and go with the highest guy by ADP.
Well, you're not getting any complaints from Packer fans like me or Tom by taking Jones 14th in this one. He's been a bargain, ever since the Rodgers news at the NFL draft. Him and Adams have both been falling in the second round. So if Rodgers comes back as anticipated, Jones and Adams are going to be steals in the second round.
Right. I mean, that's absolutely right. If Aaron Rodgers returned to Green Bay, tomorrow, I don't think there's a wide receiver I'd rather have than Adams.
Right.
And right now he's going third. So,
yep.
Or typically third.
There's Najee Harris went right after you. So you were thinking the same thing as the guy behind you each time here.
And there's Gibson.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12 running backs already in the first, 15, 16?
Yeah, again, if this was strict best ball, I typically don't go RB to start. Really do prefer, like I did in our last live draft. I took a running back in round 1, I believe, and then I went like 5 wide receivers to go. I really like that approach, the 1 RB strategy in best ball, but this one happy to grab 2, might even grab a third here. We'll see who falls. What killed me last year doing this live stream was I really hope, let's give a name here. I really hope DeAndre Hopkins falls to me with my next pick. And then of course,
before you take
and then it was the same guys doing it round after round after round. And you had to wonder if they're just listening to the live stream that gives them a little edge.
I would think so. Yes, I would think so. Yeah, you mentioned DeAndre Hopkins. It will be interesting to see where he goes today after the news and his tweets about, the NFL coming down hard, obviously, on unvaccinated people. And he certainly sounded like he was not going to get vaccinated. So that's a new element that we're going to have to watch, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, I don't think that really has any impact on fantasy whatsoever, but we'll see. The bigger concern with Hopkins, I don't know how real this is or not, is so when that trade was made, a lot of front office people were quoted anonymously, multiple, saying, this isn't the Hopkins is old. He's clearly lost a step. He's still great, but he's clearly lost a step. And you have to wonder if the Texans are just trying to get out from under an inevitable decline. And last year, I mean, he was highly productive for fantasy, although Kyler Murray, not the most accurate quarterback in the world.
Right.
And Cliff Kingsbury is like one of the Just shocking how he didn't move DeAndre Hopkins around the formation like an Adams, who can escape from high level CB1s because, they'll move him to the slot. They'll put him to the opposite side of the field. They'll have pick plays. And then Hopkins was really just stuck to Kyler Murray's left and, never budged there. So he's a little cornerback sensitive maybe, but for whatever reason, I just haven't wound up with a lot of exposure in my drafts
he went 20th here, so he certainly doesn't drop. The fifth wide receiver off the board here, still pretty high. What are your thoughts on Clyde Edwards-Helaire? He went 19th here. He has been going closer towards the turn in the 12-team league, 13th or 14th. What do you think? I mean, sophomore season, learned a lot. He got some goal line carries last year, just could not get in the end zone, even from 1 yard out. I think he does have upside.
Yeah, so he's another tricky one. He's a player I absolutely loved last year, and it's just, through the first 6 weeks of the season, he was basically who I wanted him to be. He ranked second among all players in expected fantasy points. Brutal touchdown luck. He had like 12 opportunities inside the 10-yard line and converted only one of those. If you give him just a league average efficiency there based on his XTD, he should have averaged like 22 fantasy points per game. And then Le'Veon Bell came in, and it was a committee role, which you can't predict, and then injuries, of course, as well. But yeah, I mean, I think he's a solid pick, especially at that ADP, because he does have that sort of Brian Westbrook upside, that Kareem Hunt type upside, and then the floor is pretty high as well. Even if you factor in only like 66% of touches, and someone else comes in and gets that Le'Veon Bell workload. So I am back on the clock. Wasn't paying attention. Do I want David Montgomery as the best available running back? Probably not. I will take Michael Thomas.
There you go. Thoughts on Michael Thomas this year?
Yeah, I just think he's a glaring injury discount. The injury he had, according to every injury expert I talked to, was massive. It was a surprise he was even on the field, and still, when he was on the field, he was pretty productive. And then before that, I mean, he just set the record for like the third most fantasy points by any wide receiver ever. Perennial wide receiver one. There's zero competition there. People are concerned about quarterback play, but we saw Taysom feed him even though he was hurt. And Jameis, his last year starting, supported 2 top 5 wide receivers by fantasy points per game. And again, just no competition for targets there. So I'm expecting a big bounce back year.
So who would you prefer being the quarterback there in New Orleans? And you want Jameis as his quarterback?
For Thomas, I want Jameis. For Kamara, I probably want Jameis. But, if I'm drafting a quarterback, I want Taysom. And I think it's going to be Taysom. Right now, the odds are about 70%. Winston's the starter, but I would bet on Hill. I think the odds are much closer to 50-50, if not even Taysom outright.
Interesting. Team 10 with an interesting start there. Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Terry McLaurin, and Allen Robinson. Team 9 taking 3 wide receivers along with Jonathan Taylor. Team 8 taking 2 tight ends. All right, it's starting to get interesting here. And you are on the clock.
Yeah, there goes George Kittle, who I had my eye on. We will. All right, I'm gonna hope my guy falls, and I'll take Amari Cooper. Get that upside for best ball. Having 2 high ceiling wide receivers.
Yep. So they put him on the PUP for the start of training camp. Any concerns that ankle is going to linger into the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a concern. I think that's actually long been a concern with Amari Cooper. He's come into camp with injuries for 3 consecutive seasons. The year before last, he had like 9 different ailments. He had, a shoulder strain, he had an ankle, he had a toe, and he was actually vegan at the time, and he switched diets, but clearly that's just something inherent to Amari, just because how many years now, so many injuries. But I mean, he was highly productive in spite of it. Gets Dak Prescott back. Love CeeDee Lamb, but I'm not going to take CeeDee Lamb above Amari Cooper.
He has been going ahead of Cooper in most drafts here. In fact, he went 32 here. Cooper goes 34. So Lamb is definitely going ahead of Cooper in NFFC drafts.
Yeah. Yeah, there are NFFC drafts looking at ADP. Like, there are certainly some sharp drafters, and I wonder how much of that is the fantasy points bias, just like the FFPC has the football guys bias. Like here, Deontay Johnson, ADP 46.6, and FFPC maybe 60 something.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing a guy who I would consider with my 4th round pick who's going fifth round, maybe 6th round. So we'll see.
Well, Mahomes is the first quarterback off the board there. It's at 37 to team 4. That's about where he's going, even in 12-team online championship drafts. Best ball drafts, he's going right around 36, 35. So not much lower than he's going regularly. There's Deontay Johnson at 39. I want to keep an eye on some of the builds here. And I want to also, we were talking with Tom last week of stacking teams. Do you look to stack teams in a format like this?
Yeah. So if I was doing something like this with a top heavy payout and I was drafting, like 25 teams, like some of the degenerates out there. And because this is a best ball hybrid, you could really do that. Like you're not going to be, killing yourself week to week with start sit with waivers like you will in an FFPC league. So you could definitely do that. I would go out of my way to try and do something really interesting. Like I would try and draft Javonte, Fant, Sutton, Judy, Rodgers, because then if Rodgers goes to Denver, the value of that team goes up 50 times. So it's just making smart, educated bets like that. In a vacuum, it's probably not going to pay off, but if it does, that gives you amazing odds of winning it all. We've seen, the Mahomes sophomore season, the teams that stacked Kansas City's offense were, so dominant in formats like this that it could really pay dividends going with a full team stack, something like that, where ADP isn't accounted for.
Rodgers ain't going to Denver, just so you know. I mean, people talk like, well, yeah, they could give him like 3 number 1 picks or whatever. The Packers are not looking for draft picks right now. What people need to realize is they are way over the salary cap for next year. They are all in for this year. They brought back 20 out of 22 starters. They've overpaid for a lot of guys to come back this year. Now, if Rodgers just holds out, I just don't think the Packers even trade him. They get more value for him at the end of this season. Then they could use some draft picks. But let's say they went to Denver. Well, it's got to be Judy, Sutton, Surtain, and players that are going to play right now and contribute. So he's not going there and having Sutton and Judy and all those guys. Fant, some of them have got to come this way if that's going to happen.
So an absolutely brutal snipe, Adam Thielen off the board. That's who I wanted. And by ADP, he should be, should have been there, 7 picks from now or more. And, he's off the board. So that was a pretty, I don't want to say devastating, but frustrating snipe.
Yeah. This is where the wide receivers go. No doubt about it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think who my next wide receiver would be. See, I would really have to break out my rankings, which I didn't do. I'll just lean towards ADP. If I'm going to do a bunch of drafts like this, it's good to get the ADP values. So it lowers the cost and the price of your teams across a portfolio of teams. So I'll grab Miles Sanders, although he's not necessarily a target for me with the Konami code quarterback there, not really targeting running backs, and Kenny Gainwell entering the mix. I did want to talk about Rodgers potentially leaving. So you are, correct me if I'm wrong, a delusional Packers fan, bright-eyed and forever optimistic. But who disagrees with you maybe a little bit, just a little bit, would be Vegas, because when the Super Bowl odds first came out back in February, Green Bay was like 5th and Denver was like 20th. Now Denver is like 11th, Green Bay is like 7th, 8th, 9th. So really, people, and honestly, it wouldn't shock me, because if you think about it from Green Bay's perspective, everything you said was true and valid. But at the same time, he's, rubs people the wrong way. He's a locker room distraction. He's whiny. He's a prima donna. He's unhappy. He's old. He's on the last few years of his deal.
Yep.
They already drafted his replacement.
Yep.
So you have to think like, hey, maybe they're just like, hey, maybe we could get draft picks for this guy. We have a replacement, but that's just trying to play devil's advocate.
Yeah, no, they don't have a replacement for this year. I mean, Love is not ready. The whole last season was a wasted season for him. So they're all in with all these veterans. They brought back Preston Smith, Zadarius Smith, re-signed Bakhtari. They're all in for this year. They're not going with Jordan Love if they can help it.
Yeah.
No, I'm betting on the Packers. Give me to Vegas right now. I'll bet on the Packers. I'm not taking Denver. They're not getting Rodgers. And again, they'd have to give up so many players, 3-4 starters to start the conversation. But we'll see. Rodgers is a very tough human being as far as holding grudges. If he really is this upset, hell, he doesn't even talk to his brother or parents anymore. So I could see him holding a grudge and being very, very tough. But he's got 3 years left on his contract. If he doesn't report this year, he owes the $35 million signing bonus that still is out there. So do you want to get paid $38 million this year, or pay $35 million that you owe on the signing bonus?
So that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money to walk
Jeopardy
away from.
doesn't pay $35 million a year. I know that. All right. You are back up. You got 3 running backs and 2 wide receivers.
Yeah. So I'll go quarterback here.
There we go.
Why not? Feel like there's a run about to pop. I've been drafting a ton of Jalen Hurts, which would be just my luck if Deshaun Watson gets traded to the Eagles, because last year I was like, love Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's a bell cow. Love Rojo at cost. I mean, he's not a bell cow prop, but there's no one else there. I don't believe in Keyshawn Vaughn. Tampa Bay's offense is going to be a juggernaut. So many goal line opportunities. And then, Leonard Fournette gets cut. No one saw that coming, goes to Tampa Bay. Le'Veon Bell cut halfway through the season, or start of the season. And so that just screwed me. So it'd be just my luck, where the analysis on paper is great, but who saw this happening? Although I do think Deshaun Watson, a suspension between 8 and 12 games. I mean, 8 and 17 games.
Well, let me ask you, now that you have Lamar Jackson, are you looking at stacking any Ravens with him?
Probably not. Maybe if Mark Andrews is here on the turn.
Yeah, Tom was looking at that last week too, and was thinking of stacking. I believe it was some Ravens, and then he got 2 players sniped. Then I think he went for a Fitzpatrick stack at Washington, but I don't think that worked out for him either. He got desperate at the end.
There's been a lot of studies done on stacking that shows in a best ball it's typically massively overrated.
Yeah.
But I mean, in one of these top heavy tournaments, again, it is a good way to raise your ceiling where you're competing against. How many teams are you competing against in the cut line?
Well, it will be about 2,700.
2,700. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you look at Team 10, and he started out with the 4 wide receivers, and he's got Josh Allen and the Diggs. So he's got the hookup there. We'll see if he takes a running back later, but that's a hookup that we can look at. Team 4 has got Mahomes. We'll see if he does anything. Obviously, he didn't get the top guys, so there's not a stack there. I'm not saying our guys stack a lot of these. It was just fun talking with Tom last week, because that's what he was looking at. And then all of a sudden, as we were watching a couple of teams, there were about 2 or 3 teams that were going for some team stacks.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to make the playoffs. I feel good about it. As soon as I make the playoffs. We'll see.
I want you should cash. You're going for first place is 350, and then
that's really what you gotta. So you gotta be focused on upside. Certainly, if you're gonna take down, all those teams, it's a lot of teams.
Right. So win your league and you can double your money right there. All right. Anything surprise you so far? I mean, at this point, we saw the running backs run. We see rounds 3 through 6, heavy wide receivers, quarterbacks. People are still waiting on. Tight ends. I mean, Pitts went off pretty early. He went, what did he go? 49, a little bit above his ADP. Thoughts on Kyle Pitts?
Yeah, I mean, I love me some Kyle Pitts. Just really believe in the talent there, but his price is a little too rich for me at ADP. I just think he's priced at his ceiling, and I typically don't draft players priced at their ceiling.
Yep.
So I'd rather wait a few rounds on tight end, but
if I miss that one going in the top 50, we know how rookie tight ends struggle usually. Hawkinson certainly didn't do much his rookie year. Tony Gonzalez even struggled as a rookie tight end. But Pitts certainly seems like he's got the talent. He's in an offense where he could be the number 2 wide out there, basically. So upside is definitely there.
Well, that's the argument with him. It's basically it's basically, well, he's basically a wide receiver, right. So there's not going to be a steep learning curve, and he's going to be used all over the formation, all that stuff. But I mean, even if you like just give him Jamar Chase's projection or Devonta Smith's projection, it's still like a really lofty price tag.
Right. Odell Beckham goes 62 here. What do you think? Can he come back from the ACL injury and have a big year this year?
Man, I don't know. He's had like 3 100-yard games since the end of the Obama era. He was, I felt like he was on the verge of balling out before his last injury, and now it's another injury to come back from, and he's come back from a bunch. So you have this like reservoir of talent, and you have to wonder how much is left after all the injuries he's suffered. And he's getting up there in age. Is he 29 now or 30?
And Mark Andrews went before you were able to stack him with your Lamar Jackson.
Oh, looks like I'm on the clock.
And you were on the clock.
Yeah, I wanted Cortland Sutton there, or more Mark Andrews. So definitely some low-level snipes. I hate to do it, but I'm going to draft another running back. Michael Carter in NFFC ADP is just silly, just silly at 83.9. Good value on the San Francisco running backs as well. Mm-hmm. Let's see who else. Fournette is a decent value. Connors for best ball. Connors a really good value. And I'm giving this out because I'm probably not going to draft another running back for a long time. Yeah. Or at least that's the plan.
So you're saying San Francisco backfield is good value. Sermon went there at 66, it looks like.
When did Henderson go? Did Henderson go?
Yes, that's he went right there at 58.
Okay.
The team 3. Yep.
I want to see Sandman's team. I've been talking with Sando a lot this week. So he went 1 RB. Oh, okay. Yeah. And he got some nice wide receivers. He got Pitts, Gaskin.
Yep.
Gaskin, I mean, hey, if Gaskin is who Gaskin was when he was healthy last year, he is like RB1 upside, and he's being drafted as what? RB3, high-end RB3.
Yep. Yeah, Mike does a lot of these cut lines. Is very good, obviously.
He actually helped me with my big article, my big Upside Wins Championships article. He helped me edit that. I'm sure he's listening now and trying to, I don't know, maybe I'm maybe not, but
he knows he's got you right now.
Shout out to Mike.
But going back to the 49ers backfield, what do you think is going to happen there? I mean, Sermon's being drafted ahead of Mostert, although Mostert, when he's healthy, is pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best argument for Sermon. Is the argument against Mostert is just that he can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
He's smashed when he stayed healthy.
Yeah.
We saw that at the tail end of the 2019 season, 2020, before his second injury of the season. He was smashing. To me, it's just it's like the Cleveland Browns offense at a discount. 90% of the Browns rushing attack at a 5-round discount is how I view it. I think San Francisco is going to rank top 3 in rush attempts, rushing yards. I think good production, hyper efficiency, and those guys are great best ball targets. In the start sit, they might be frustrating to own, like we saw last year with what's his name? Not Richie James, Jeff Wilson.
Yeah, right. All right, you are one pick away. Are you looking? What position are you looking at here?
It depends on how much I want to trust ADP versus if these guys I'm drafting against are know who my guys are or not. I'm gonna try and get cute. We'll see what happens. We're gonna try and get cute here. And I took Dallas Goedert.
No. And what do you? I mean, Ertz is still there. You plan on him being shipped off somewhere or cut?
I'm getting cute here. Is what I'm telling you, Greg. So we'll see. We'll see. Does that mean I'm going with the Jalen Hurts stack? Does that mean something else? Who knows? But we'll reveal later on.
Sanders, Goddard. I like it.
I mean, Deshaun Watson goes to Philadelphia. It's a different story with some of these guys.
That's an easy one. Round 26, you could probably get him.
Devonta Smith just went off the board, so I can't add him to that potential stack.
Devonta Smith, as a rookie in Philadelphia, what's the projection?
I think he's the wide receiver 1. I think he's the wide receiver 1 out of the gates. The issue there is, don't love Jalen Hurts as a passer. They do have Goddard, who clearly I like to some degree. They have Jalen Reagor now moved to the slot where he should be more effective. If he could take the league by storm from the get-go, it wouldn't surprise me. He could have a steeper learning curve. He could get bodied by bigger, more physical NFL cornerbacks. Wouldn't surprise me. He just has a wide range of outcomes, which I typically like when drafting. I'm the upside guy, but I mean, you want to talk about a rookie wide receiver, my guy Elijah Moore, I'll just give that up right now. 152 ADP. I would have that at least 30 spots higher, maybe more than that. So yeah, like me some Elijah.
Yeah, I wish Packers could have got Elijah Moore. I think he would have fit in just perfectly with that offense. I do like Amari Rodgers. I think he's going to be a nice slot receiver, but that Elijah Moore is going to be something, I think. Okay, Kyler Murray was the 4th quarterback off the board. He goes to team 5. People are waiting on quarterbacks in this one. I usually see a few more off the board than this, but a 10-teamer, plenty of good quarterbacks. Oh, man,
I didn't even realize Dak Prescott's still there. Yeah, I would much prefer to have Dak Prescott in round 8 than Lamar Jackson in round 6. So if you're listening to this draft, someone scoop up Dak Prescott. There you go. Next pick. That's just silly ADP value.
That is,
Kyler Murray, round 8 too. Jesus. So I definitely reached on Lamar Jackson.
Well, I think quarterbacks do go in around 5, 6, or 6, 7 in that area. That's like I said. I think people did really wait on quarterbacks in this one. Murray and Prescott in round 8, pretty damn good value.
Yeah, because when I took Lamar Jackson, I think he was the top guy by ADP. So
yeah, let me see.
And now we get to the quarterback dead zone. So like I'm not drafting Herbert, Rodgers, Brady.
I mean, Prescott's ADP in this format is 52. So here he went 78.
Yeah, that's great value to that guy.
Yep.
That's great value.
At team 3, he's a former national champion in the NFFC. Starts out with Alvin Kamara, Darren Waller, Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, DJ Moore, Darrell Henderson, Chase Claypool, and Dak Prescott. That's a pretty nice start.
Yeah, outside of overdrafting Moore, and I think maybe Henderson, maybe really like his team, especially the build, the RB1 best ball build with the tight end, you know, Darren Waller. You get that oligarch tight end, just gives you a massive advantage. And especially in best ball, you know, now he could draft like Cole Kmet in round 17 or whatever, right, and he's just good at the position. Whereas someone else is going to have, you know, Mark Andrews plus Tyler Higbee, plus maybe even like, you know, Charles, and I almost Jared Cook. I almost called him Charles Clay. I don't know why. And yeah, team 3, I don't know if you're listening, but he also grabbed Raheem Mostert, which is you know, another really rock solid pick, especially
very good
in the best
ball
hybrid.
pick. Yep.
One of the best best ball picks you can make, I think, is Raheem Mostert.
Really? Yep.
There's quite a few of those. I'm actually going to pull up my MFL 10 of death team because I haven't checked it since we drafted, but let me make this pick here. But I warned you, I'm gonna get cute here, and I might even get stupid. I don't know. I don't know.
That's okay. The viewers are like that.
I mean, yeah, you got to make it fun. Greg, right?
Absolutely. All right, quarterbacks are starting to go here. Team 5 doubles up there.
Oh, so that's what I wanted. I wanted Logan Thomas. I have Logan Thomas ranked ahead of Dallas Goedert. I took Goddard, and it was clearly a fine gamble because, look, he went the pick before me. So, you know, one pick later. But again, I don't even know if that's smart because in a best ball, I would love that. In a best ball hybrid, I don't know. I don't know.
Yep.
I'll take, this is a safety play. I'll take Brandon Cooks.
There you go.
If he had Deshaun Watson, if Deshaun Watson plays 17 games for the Texans, he's a low end wide receiver 1. Chances of that happening astronomically low, but even with Tyrod Taylor, I think this is great value, especially in a best ball.
Tom loves Brandon Cooks, so he's approving of that one and your Aaron Jones pick. Hey, Justin Herbert going way behind Brady and Russell Wilson. Very interesting.
I want to frame this draft in a way where I don't have to draft too many quarterbacks or tight ends or running backs, and then just really go volume with the wide receiver position. We'll see.
Well, this has got to be one of the deepest wide receiver years I can ever remember. I'm not sure about you, but holy cow!
Yeah,
you're going to have plenty of receivers after round 10 that are still very valuable. Fenton Higbee, team 10. Team 9 without a quarterback, one of 3 teams without a quarterback. Oh, as I speak, there's Aaron Rodgers. Teams up with Devontae Adams. I like it. Okay, Rodgers, Adams comes back. They both move up. Adams moves up 6 spots. Rodgers moves up 6 rows. Good gamble there. You are on the clock.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, I'll take Hurts. Screw it. Have the stack.
You have the stack.
Have the stack.
Goddard, Sanders, and Hurts. All right. Now you don't have to worry about quarterback again.
Yeah, I don't think I'll draft another one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 26 rounds though. So I mean we'll see. We'll see where Tyrod ends up falling, someone like that.
Yeah. Or Deshaun. Let me ask you about the Denver backfield because saw Javonte Williams go in round, what is that, first pick of round 6, and then you see Melvin Gordon here in round 10. You think the Broncos cut Gordon, or do you think those two are going to be together in the backfield?
I don't. I just dropped my article today talking about Javonte. It was somewhat conspiratorial, but you could definitely make the case where Pat Shurmur prefers a bell cow running back. The team is very unhappy with Melvin Gordon, his performance, the shape he showed up in last year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the draft pick, the decision to move up to Javonte, clearly already, I think, a superior runner. I think most likely it's a 60-40 committee in Javonte's favor. Melvin gets a lot of pass catching work, but you can make the argument for him, and he could be a league winner. Wouldn't really shock me, but I most likely probably not.
Yeah, I think they're better off with both guys. I really do. I agree. I think Melvin Gordon came into camp out of shape last year. Last year was a weird year. They had signed him to the free agent contract, and he still didn't come in prepared. But I think he definitely complements the rookie. I mean, 17-game season for a rookie running back to be the bell cow, that's a long time for him. So I think they're better off if they keep both of those running backs. Ronald Jones in round 10, pick 97. I like that pick. I mean, he's got good value there, I think. I can't see Fournette taking too much away from Ronald Jones. Team 2 with the 2 running backs to start out and then just hitting them wide receivers. Still no quarterback for team 2, but very interesting build there.
Yeah, I mean, I really like that strategy.
Yeah.
He thinks he can just pick, 3 sort of random, maybe 3 or 4 sort of random quarterbacks to put together, what, maybe even a Lamar Hurts combo does. And, he might be right. And then he really gets that upside because wide receiver really is such a valuable position in best ball. So, and a great pick right there, Ryan Tannehill.
Yep.
Yeah,
in a 10-team league, people sometimes do overvalue the quarterbacks. I mean, you got 32 starting quarterbacks out there, for 10-team leagues, you're all got a shot at 3 good
that's right.
quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So banging that wide receiver in a best ball format is not a bad way to go.
Certainly not.
Team 1 with Russell Wilson and Joe Burrow as quarterbacks. Still no tight end for team 1. So don't see a stack for team 1 at all. I don't really see a stack for team 2. The Dak, no Cowboys yet there. So not as many people stacking. You probably got more of a stack than anybody right now with the Philly combination. The Rodgers, Devontae Adams, and Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs start is really about it in this draft.
Yeah, right now I'm looking at my team, regretting multiple decisions. Would have preferred a hammer wide receiver a little bit more than I did. But again, drafting those 4 running backs, I feel good about sitting on the position. I have quarterback locked down. Maybe one more wide receiver, but one more tight end. But yeah, there's Leonard Fournette, great value pick there in round 11. Great. He was the bell cow last year in the postseason. Maybe that continues back in the clock. Going to take Laviska. And then after Laviska, I don't know, wide receiver really looks murky to me. I'm looking at the next 10 or so names and no one really stands out to me.
Yeah, team 6, Stafford and Woods is a combination there. So not a lot of stacking, but there are some combinations here, which can add up in a best ball weekly format. So you took Chenault. What do you think happens with ETN? They were talking about him being this gadget wide receiver and such. That's what Laviska is. What the hell is he talking about? Right? He's got the gadget already.
Yeah, and it was funny early on in the offseason, like for 2 months, the only thing Urban Meyer said about Laviska was that he could play tight end if he wanted, where it's just like, oh my God, what is this guy talking about?
Yeah, right.
But no, since then he's hyped him up. It looks like they're going to use him as a true wide receiver. And then, yeah, maybe Etienne in the Percy Harvin, Curtis Samuel role, which was a super valuable role for fantasy.
Yeah.
despite only handling like 25% of the carries out of the backfield. So could he be used like Alvin Kamara? I think it's very possible. That's a sort of similar role. But the people I've talked to who are, high level ESPN guys, let's say, who are familiar with Urban Meyer, told me basically, listen, the guy lies through his teeth, but he's really smart. So just trust me, I think he's going to be, the RB1 at some point in the season. He's not going to be some weird wide receiver. Don't listen to that. So that's the vibe I got. That's how I'm approaching it.
Yeah. Yeah, it certainly seemed like coach talk that I didn't trust him on it myself. Where did ETN go here? I didn't see where he went. Oh, there he is. Okay, round 5, pick 48.
The pick right before me, right?
He went right after you.
Right
actually,
after
you took Sanders, and then ETN went right after.
Yeah, again, I'm drafting more off of ADP than my rankings. I'm wonder if I'll have Etienne above Sanders. I think it's possible.
Oops.
That's going to be like a full week process in and of itself. Just really, really hammering rankings. And Gabriel Davis, Darnell Mooney, Jalen Waddle off the board. Yeah, wide receiver is a little murky here. Little murky. Robert Tonyan off the board. I wanted Tonyan. I was hoping to get Tonyan there with that pick.
Yeah, I mean, why is he going so far? I mean, he's like tight end 12. I mean, this guy who had 11 touchdowns. I know he's TD dependent if Rodgers doesn't come back, blah, blah, blah. But my goodness, he had great hands. Didn't have any drops last year. 11 touchdown receptions. I'm surprised he's going as low as he is.
Yeah. I'll let you make my pick for me here. Do I take?
I don't have the board in front of me. I don't have the draft room in front of me.
Do I take Devontae Parker and get guaranteed points, or do I take Jalen Reagor and stack that Eagles offense more fully, and then be sure to draft Deshaun Watson in like 9 or so rounds?
I think Jalen Reagor is the upside play here. This is, if you're going to try to win it all, I think he's going to have a good year. I think they're going to put him in the right spot this time. Packers loved him. He would have been a great slot receiver for them last year. I know Eagles fans are so down on him, but that kid's got a lot of talent. I think he's going to do some special teams good things as well. I think Reagor is the upside pick for you.
Yeah, so I think Parker is the better pick in a vacuum, but maybe Reagor makes more sense for this team. Now I'm regretting not taking Devonta Smith as well, but and be sure to draft Watson as a YOLO upside play in like 10 rounds or so.
Right.
But I want to bring it back to Robert Tonyan. So you asked why he's being so devalued. So he's interesting in the sense that he's a massive regression candidate. He just, scored way more touchdowns than his expectation implied. I actually have some crazy stats on him. So it was the most efficient season by any tight end ever in terms of fantasy points per target. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers' MVP performance was part of that, but he finished at the tight end 3, despite ranking 24th in targets. He had 11 touchdowns and only 7 incompletions, just absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
So due for a massive regression, yes, but typically for receivers, not running backs, following a hyper efficient season, we see a massive increase in volume. And that's exactly what Matt LaFleur has come out and said. He said he wants to feature Tonyan in the offense this year. He's improved more than anyone else on the team. Obviously, Rodgers would help a lot more than Jordan Love, but at this ADP, I think that's a great pick.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he could get more volume. He was so efficient with the few targets he did get. And obviously, he seemed to catch almost everything. So,
Team 2 is having a killer draft, and they just got my guy, Elijah Moore. Only criticism would be I would take some different wide receivers than they took. But, I mean, the start is great. Dalvin and CEH, A.J. Brown, Deontay, Tyler Lockett, amazing Bellcat upside. He got the sort of premium high-end tight end 1, or at least that's who you're drafting Hawkinson to be. And then you got massive boom games coming from at least 2 of Will Fuller, OBJ, Debo, Gallup, and then Elijah, my sleeper. So he got Tannehill. He's probably having the best draft of anyone, I'd say. Maybe would have liked to see like one more of those running back values in the best ball hybrid, like a Mostert or Fournette who went late. If I were him, quarterback, I mean, he's really good at quarterback. You could draft Trey Lance for the upside, although it's, those first 10 weeks and best ball. Really, but you could wait. You could wait and draft Fitz, Darnold, for super, super cheap. You could draft both New Orleans quarterbacks. I think that's a very viable strategy.
What do you think about Tony Pollard as his third running back here?
Yeah, so in a best ball, I wouldn't really go crazy with handcuffs.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, if it's week 16 and Zeke goes down, congrats. Your relatively free pick is now an RB1, and that's super valuable.
Yep. All right, so you've already finished behind team 2. Now you're going for second place money here, just to summarize.
Well, we'll see. There's Trey Lance off the board.
When do you think he gets in?
Oh, man. I think Shanahan's quietly rooting for him to start week 1.
Yeah.
I hope it's week 1. If it's not, I mean, that's legitimately disappointing because I don't know. You could draft both, though. People aren't doing that because you got to think if Garoppolo holds on to the job, he's playing out of his mind like Alex Smith in Mahomes' rookie year.
Yeah. I think it'll be tough for him to start week 1. I mean, my goodness, he hasn't played football in a year. He's coming into a new system and such. This is a very good team. I mean, if these guys stay healthy, San Francisco is a Super Bowl contender. Tough for him to take off right away. But, Shanahan may have confidence in him to run the offense.
Quincy Avery, his quarterback mentor or guru or coach or whatever you call it, said he was the most NFL-ready prospect he's ever played with. So, I mean, hey, despite all that time off, that would be pretty ideal.
Yeah.
I will draft. I guess Russell Gage. Why not? Let me fill up my queue just a little bit.
Trevor Lawrence to teammate. Thoughts on Lawrence coming in as a rookie, as long as we're talking about rookie quarterbacks?
Yeah. He's a tricky one because, who knows what the Urban Meyer scheme is going to look like. I'm hearing it should be very run heavy. He's not really Konami code, but he's sort of on the spectrum. He had a lot of rushing touchdowns in college. Supposedly the greatest, quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
I'm not really winding up with a lot of exposure. I just gravitate more towards the guaranteed Konami code guys like Justin Fields and Trey Lance and Jalen Hurts. That's out of the top 5 guaranteed Konami code guys.
And there, Carson Wentz went. I got to ask him, Justin Fields right after him. Do you think Wentz rebounds in Indianapolis with his old coach and all?
Yeah, I mean, there's no way to know. I think it's worth betting on. Maybe in drafts, certainly at his, comeback player of the year odds, MVP odds, passing yardage odds. I mean, I don't think it's likely, but it's basically a foregone conclusion. He's dust. Looks like I'm back in the clock, but
I mean, he's going as QB 18. I think there's value there on taking a shot at him.
Right. Yeah, Ben just said as long as he plays 70% of the snaps, that's all us Eagles fans care about. And that's a great point. One super alarming and concerning thing with him was the reports that came out. I'm on the clock. I'm just gonna YOLO. I'll just draft a floor player another floor player with Russell Gage.
So I gotta say one thing. So we had a Bills beat reporter on last night, and we actually asked him about Beasley and this whole vaccine thing, and he actually felt that the Bills would end up cutting him before the start of the season. That they thought Emmanuel Sanders would replace his spot there, and that he may not make the team.
Who was the beat writer?
Yep.
Who was the beat writer?
I don't have it in front of me. I can't remember what his name was.
Yeah, I want to see who that beat writer was, but that would certainly surprise me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would definitely surprise me. And I wonder if it would open up a potential for lawsuits for wrongful termination or something along those lines. But I don't know. I'm not really educated enough to voice an opinion on all that stuff. But Carson Wentz. What I was saying was all the reports were like he came into camp and he looked terrible. In practice, every single day looked terrible. And so if you want to say, I tried to be an optimist and say, it was just a mental thing. He still got the talents. But, if you're struggling that badly in practice, I don't know.
You're saying with the Colts or with the Eagles, he came in bad?
With the Eagles last year.
Yeah. So right from the start, you're saying.
Yeah. And I mean, hey, and he drafted a quarterback in round 2. I don't care what you say. That doesn't instill confidence in a player to me.
No. Oh, he played terrible last year. I mean, he held on to the ball way too long. He just did not make quick decisions. There's no doubt he played terrible last year. But he certainly has the physical tools. I'd be surprised if he didn't play better, at least. It's going to be a run-oriented offense. They don't have to rely on him completely. Be interesting, though, to see how he comes back. All right, so you are hitting the wide receiver very heavily here.
Right.
Which you definitely could do, like you said. You've got the 4 running backs, the 2 quarterbacks. Probably need another tight end.
Yeah, I think what I'm hoping for is I really land a stud wide receiver on waivers somehow, but I really should be drafting for upside more. Russell Gage, Cole Beasley, definitely not upside plays. Those were probably mistakes. Rondale Moore off the board. I was hoping to look at Rondale Moore on the way back.
An upside play, I'm just looking at Henry Ruggs. Do you think there's any chance for improvement with him? Boy, highly drafted last year and just did not put up the numbers.
I don't know. My model, hated him, and then he just massively underperformed to the point where I'm not. Why change the initial eval?
Yeah. I mean, that class, Judy did not perform real well. People are drafting him for a bounce back, but Ruggs is definitely not being drafted for a bounce back.
No.
There's Devin Singletary.
Again, I just want to point out, I'm not drafting off of rankings. I'm kind of just sticking to ADP here, sort of feeling it out. Things would look a lot different otherwise.
And what are you hoping for Aguilar in New England with Cam?
We'll talk about that in a round or 2.
Okay.
Yeah. Zach Ertz is there at tight end. Otherwise, that well seemed to have dried up at least a little bit.
Yeah. Well, everyone behind you has 2 tight ends right now, at least 3 for team 8. So the one thing with these cut lines, they go fast. I mean, here we are in round 15. We're not even an hour in. You can get these done in less than an hour and a half, 26 rounds, 10 teams. Some of our guys will do multiple cut lines each night as we get into August and into early September. So these are very popular, quick and easy contests.
So Team 10's Buffalo Bills stack. You went Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Terry McLaurin, Allen Robinson. Load up on those wide receivers. I love that. He's really he's really chasing upside there. Javonte, Mike Davis, and then hopefully cobble together solid RB2 production with those running backs.
Yeah, he's definitely got the Buffalo build, especially with Sanders here at the end. Right. Diggs, Allen, Moss, Gabriel Davis, who should be the number 2 there, and Sanders, who could be in the slot. So, yeah, I mean, that's going to be one of the top 3 or 4 offenses, right? So you can't argue against that stack at all. He needs the running backs to come through. Javonte Williams, Mike Davis. But yes, you can't argue with that stack.
Yeah, again, all the studies done have shown that stacking is just like super overrated in best ball and probably in general. Again, in these, you have to take on 2,400 teams or whatever. Makes more sense. But I mean, Buffalo was amazing last year, so that should already be priced into ADP. People want to make a strong argument for Zach Moss. Devin Singletary stinks, and maybe he's just going to sit on the bench all year. Okay, but Josh Allen's still the goal line back. This was the most pass-heavy team in the league by a landslide. I just realized you could draft kickers and defenses in this league.
Yes, we have team defense and team kickers as well. And the reason we switched to team kicker is, you don't have to pick up 4 kickers because you're worried one of your guys is going to get hurt. If you draft Baltimore kicker, it doesn't matter if it's Justin Turner or somebody else that takes over that job. So it's team kicker in this format.
Interesting. I would love team quarterback. And where do you think San Francisco and New Orleans would go? Team quarterback.
Team quarterback? Well, both would go higher than their individual guys are going. That's for sure. I think the New Orleans quarterback situation is interesting. I think, Sean Payton seems like he wants to be known as the quarterback whisperer. Like he can turn Jameis around. He's going to turn this former number 1 pick around. I know he loves Taysom Hill. I just saw the interview where he was saying, if we do put Taysom at quarterback, then we lose that gadget tight end guy we have. So in that interview, he sure sounded like he was leaning towards Jameis, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, my question is just like, how valuable is that tight end hybrid role that gets 8 snaps? Like, do you really lose anything of value?
Right. Brings him into Wildcat. Guess what? He's going to run.
Yeah, exactly.
You got a chance for a Patriot stack here. You got Aguilar, Myers. You just need Cam now.
Or Mac.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I was going to mention whenever James White went, that was a great pick. I took him in I've been getting him in a bunch of best balls. He's mispriced by a couple of rounds.
Yeah.
And I draft Jacoby Myers in every single draft, so who I like more than Aguilar at the moment, but we'll see about that. Where you can should pair him up with a Mac Jones, especially in like a 26 rounder, because you're betting on the passing offense taking a leap forward.
Right. That was Mike Sando who took James White for you, just so you know.
Yeah, that's a great pick.
He's listening.
In best ball. So I definitely have my eye on a guy. We'll see if he falls.
If you mention him, then somebody will take him.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe, should I just throw out disinformation?
No.
Really hope Demetric Felton doesn't go off the board here.
First 2 defenses, like you said, Pittsburgh Steelers and then the Washington football team. I mean, defenses and special teams in this format averages, 10, 11 points. Most average 8 or 9 points. So the upside is there for a few more points per game.
Man, Team 2 has 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 wide receivers. Interesting. How many kickers and defenses do teams typically draft?
2 to 3 in this format. Yeah. Usually when the run starts, it goes pretty heavily. But last week with Tom, the defensive run did not run a goal like I thought it was going to. More in a 10 team, there's fewer runs, I think, than there are like in a 12 team when you can't afford to wait 23 picks to take a chance.
Right. That's a great point.
Here, you're not really all that far away from your next pick. Rams is a third defense.
Who was on the winning team last year?
So the person who won our $100,000 grand prize was George Melbrod. He's 71 years old and was playing a bunch of I think he played about 9 of them to get through the pandemic. I mean, he's a great guy, but it was just something to keep him occupied. And then George had a really good team. He had Josh Allen and Diggs. And if you remember week 16 last year, Kamara had that 56-point game on Christmas Day. So everybody who had Kamara moved way up to the top. I don't think George thought like he could catch that guy, but then of course Diggs and Allen went off in week 16. And
wait, he didn't have Kamara?
No.
That's shocking.
Yeah, but I mean Diggs, I don't remember what he went off for, but Allen too. That combination on Monday Night Football, that won the NFFC primetime $200,000 grand prize. It won the Cutline $100,000. That combo won the majority of our top leagues that paid out. Yeah. It was an unbelievable night for a couple of people. Yeah, RotoWire Online Championship. Doug Gruber, he had that combination. He won $200,000. So yeah, all our top teams had that combination last year to win. And Allen was like the 12th quarterback going off the board last year. Diggs certainly wasn't going very high. I think he was going 5th round last year, end of 4th, early 5th. I don't know if I admit I didn't see the Diggs thing coming. I didn't even think that was going to be a good fit in Buffalo. I don't know about you, but that was a shock, I thought, what he put up last year.
Yeah, it was interesting. Minnesota really just used him as a deep threat, and that was about it. And then he goes to Buffalo, and immediately he's a wide receiver 1 on the same level, or nearly on the same level as a Devontae Adams, or Michael Thomas, at least for fantasy. Being super cornerback and matchup proof. We always saw him as an elite route runner, but he really showed he was the complete package last year. So, his ADP seems certainly justified to me.
Yeah. So you took Gerald Everett as your second tight end. Thoughts on that one?
Yeah, he's a great value. He's going to be the number 3 in Seattle's offense. He's going to finish as like the tight end 9, I'd say. And so that's just good value. But in terms of like helping you win a start-sit league, he doesn't bring too much value, I don't think. So I guess there's a run now. Run on defenses.
I assume you're talking about defenses.
Yeah.
One kicker, Baltimore, Justin Turner, deserves round 17 value. Dolphins D, interesting. What do you see there?
They just outscored any other available defense by 20 points last year. Brian Flores, smart guy. I don't know. Just it's defense. I try not to put too much thought into it. Yeah, now things get kind of gross with Oh, you forgot to remind me to take Watson. Forgot Watson's available. Or maybe that's still early. Yeah, I had it
Colts.
sorted by points.
So Cole Kmet seems to be that sleeper tight end that everybody's talking about. I see a lot of our veterans are taking him. What do you think? Second year he can bust out a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know. Could be. I know the team really believes in him. Started to impress down the stretch last year, but he's not someone I'm really drafting.
Okay. Yeah, so this format, we actually have slow drafts. We have 2-hour and 4-hour drafts. Those get done in 5 days, 6 days. They're very easy to do. Again, 10 teams. If you got 10 good owners, it doesn't take long to get through 26 rounds. We also have these every night at 9 and 11 o'clock Eastern. So again, if you like the format, you like what Scott's doing here, jump on in. $100,000 grand prize, $350 league prize. I mean, this is like a lottery ticket. That's how our guys see it. It's a $175 entry fee lottery ticket. Gets done quickly. Not a lot of work to do after draft day. You got a chance to win $100,000.
It's a lot of fun. You get bragging rights if you beat me or you outscore
That's right.
me, which I think you can do with this team.
I will say that, we've done this like 5-6 years now. That final table on that last week when 12 guys are on it, first place is 100,000, then it goes down. Last place or 12th place is 2,000. So to be watching games on that weekend with $98,000 on the line is a hell of a deal. And again, it's kind of like the World Series of Poker, whittle down to 12, and there you are in that final table with a stack of chips. It's exciting. It's a good format.
So we have 3, 6, 7, 8 rounds left. We're going to log off after this last round.
Yep.
Just know that all these picks are going to be dart throws. I'm going to try and get 2 to 3 defenses, 2 to 3 kickers, which leaves about 3 more dart throw picks, like a Deshaun Watson for the upside in a tournament like this where you have to beat out 2,300 other teams. Devontae Picker, a great pick. Maybe Saquon Barkley, slow to return. Just looking here, could Kadarius Toney be a thing and have like a breakout rookie season? He was a round 1 draft pick. Probably not, but why not gamble it in round 21 or Amari Rodgers if Aaron comes back, things like that. So Donald Parham, that's a guy I'm going to target in like round 26. But yeah, so we'll log off here in just a minute unless I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to.
No, I want to thank you for doing this. It was a lot of fun. I hope everybody enjoyed it. It's fun to watch teams build their lineups and see what sleeper picks are out there and such. So, we're going to try to do this most Thursday nights, either this format or a different format, but appreciate it. Appreciate Fantasy Points doing this, and best of luck this year, Scott. Hope you win $100,000. I'll personally come on out there. We'll drink beer together if I give it to you. All right.
Oh, that'd be awesome. All right. So the last pick of the day, Saints defense. And hold on one second. Yeah, Saints defense. And I don't know. Good luck to everyone who's in this draft, sniping my guys and listening. Good luck to the Sandman. And thanks for having me on, Greg.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you later.